Trump attempts to end another war. Nazis are everywhere. And Trump is cleared of wrongdoing in the Epstein case by Trump allies. That'll satisfy everyone. Then more on this week's America Uncovered headlines. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. First, I just want to say thank you all for leaving an American flag emoji in the comments. It's been a huge help with engagement and YouTube's algorithm, that fickle digital mistress. In an update to the episode I did covering the government shutdown, the government is still shut down. Those poor government employees. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm glad I work in the more stable, secure field of creating content on YouTube. For this shutdown to end, Republicans and Democrats will have to work together. Right now, it seems about as likely as the stolen French crown jewels being returned to the Louvre with an apology letter and an Applebee's gift card. Democratic Congressman Adam Smith, presumably no relation to the man who wrote The Wealth of Nations, pleaded for Republicans to come to the table.
If we want to get this government open, negotiate with us. I said a couple days ago, Trump will negotiate with Hamas and Putin in North Korea, but he won't negotiate with Democrats?
Does he know that's kind of a cell phone? He'll figure it out. But Senate Republicans headed to the White House in a show of unity. Yes, unity. Exactly what this country needs. To put party aside and help the people. And, this is going to be Republican unity only, isn't it?
There's nothing to negotiate. They just have to do what they've always done in the past, that they did 13 times during the Biden administration, and they did as recently as March of this year, to open the government so that people can get their services and their paychecks.
To be fair, the House passed a stopgap spending bill that would have kept the government open. So the Speaker of the House really doesn't have much say. It's on the Senate, which doesn't appear to be budging on either side. So the shutdown will drag on, as will the memes. Politics is a deeply unserious business. Demolition began on part of the East Wing of the White House to prepare for the $250 million, 90,000 square foot ballroom being added by President Trump. As you can imagine, people are having a strong reaction to seeing part of the White House looking like something on Al-Qaeda's vision board. Some are upset at the damage being done to such a historical space, while others seem to mostly be upset that Trump seemingly lied when he said the ballroom would be near the White House but not touching it out of respect to the building. Meanwhile, some defenders of Trump online are pointing out that Obama put in a basketball court, and even saying that he demolished part of the White House to do it, which, no. All Obama actually did was adapt a tennis court so it could double as a basketball court, which didn't involve any demolitions. And that picture is estimated to be from 1934, a little before Obama was born. However, it is worth noting that the only thing being demolished is a covered walkway attached to the East Wing, which was constructed in 1942. So while it is historical, it's not like this is the bed where Abraham Lincoln had his first hangover as president. If anything, I'm sure FDR, the president who oversaw construction of the East Wing, would enjoy this ballroom, mainly because it'll likely have more ramps. Speaking of Trump, he and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met again, and this time it didn't end with Trump and Vance scolding Zelensky like a small child. Progress. Afterwards, Trump said this.
What I say is they should stop right now at the battle lines. Go home, stop killing people, and be done.
What do you think should happen with the Donbas region then?
Let it be cut the way it is. It's cut up right now. I think 78% of the land is already taken by Russia. You leave it the way it is right now. They can negotiate something later on down the line. But I said cut and stop at the battle line. Go home. Stop fighting. Stop killing people.
Is Trump calling for an end to the war or a temporary ceasefire here? I'm not sure I can tell. In response, 13 of Europe's leaders released a statement backing Trump's call to end the fighting and the frontline freeze as a starting point for negotiations, while also making it clear that they don't support changing borders through force. Meeting ambiguity with ambiguity, I guess. The statement was also signed by Zelensky, who called Trump's frontline freeze a good compromise. But Russia said no, saying they want what they've always wanted, all of the Donbas, and that they will only stop under an agreement that guarantees long-term sustainable peace. Well, if lasting peace is what they want, why don't we just give Russia the whole planet? There, it's so easy. They should have just said so from the start. As a result, Trump canceled an upcoming second in-person meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. He also slapped new sanctions on the country. What a puppet of Putin. But we're basically right back where we started. Isn't politics great? And after the break, Democrats still deny Biden's mental health issues. Welcome back. Former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre still insists that former President Biden didn't have any mental decline.
Was he able to govern? And the man that I saw nearly every day was someone who was engaging, understood policy, and was always putting the American people first. And it showed.
Yeah, it showed all right.
I was going to put him.
But even Stephen Colbert didn't buy this, especially after Biden's disastrous debate performance against Trump.
So
I don't think anybody questioned his heart or his policies, but it takes more than that to be the President of the United States. In a moment of great pressure on stage, we saw someone shock us and worry us, and nothing could assuage that worry.
But Jean-Pierre, in her new book, blamed stress over his son Hunter's upcoming gun trial for Biden's debate performance. Come on, at least blame something plausible, like Joe seeing Hunter's videos. Lord knows that affected Matt's performance around here. ProPublica says they found more than 170 U.S. citizens have been held by immigration agents, and some were abused and detained for days without a phone call. Oh no, what if people start disliking ICE? I know this does not include people arrested while interfering with ICE, since they were arrested by local police. Congressional Democrats have started an investigation into arrests of American citizens during raids and misconduct by ICE. If true, this would be the worst abuse federal employees have unleashed on the American public since the DMV. Speaking of crimes against humanity, Nazis. Trump's nominee to lead the Office of Special Counsel, Paul Ingrassia, withdrew from his confirmation hearing after texts leaked, where he said Martin Luther King was the 1960s George Floyd, and admitted to having a Nazi streak from time to time. I'm noticing a pattern. Ingrassia apologized for his remarks and said he would reflect. I'm just kidding. He withdrew because he didn't have enough Republican votes, as several Republicans said they wouldn't confirm him. Meanwhile, Graham Planter, a Democrat Maine Senate candidate, was revealed to have a tattoo on his chest of a skull and bones associated with, you guessed it, Nazis. Not to be confused with the skull and bones associated with pirates. Plattner says he got the tattoo in Croatia in 2007 while in the Marines and drunk, and has since covered it up. 18 years later, after everyone got upset about it. Meanwhile, Politico reported that Republican Congressman Dave Taylor from Ohio had an American flag with a swastika on it in his office while one of his staffers attended a virtual meeting. That's tape. Everyone can see that somebody made it look that way with tape, right? Taylor says it was placed there by someone else and he and his staff didn't notice, and Capitol Police are investigating. Now, call me old-fashioned, but I miss the simpler days from my youth when you didn't have to determine who's a Nazi, who's just joking about being a Nazi, who's an idiot that doesn't realize they look like a Nazi, and who's being pranked into looking like a Nazi. Times like these, it's important to remember the words of philosopher and owner of the second most famous German mustache, Friedrich Nietzsche. If you gaze long enough into a Nazi edgelord abyss, the Nazi edgelord abyss will gaze back into you. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, who looks like if all the grown-up versions of the kids from Sandlot were one person, said there's no evidence of President Trump wrongdoing in the Epstein files.
The evidence we've gathered does not implicate President Trump in any way.
Well, there you have it. This is certain to satisfy basically no one who wasn't already satisfied. That little R next to Comer's name is going to make Democrats doubt this just trust me bro approach until the Epstein files are released. And probably after too, if we're being honest. And even people who voted for Trump are going to ask for better evidence. I mean, come on, man. You got to give us something new here, Comer.
Public reporting, survivor testimony, and official documents show that Bill Clinton had far closer ties to Epstein.
Clinton was close with Epstein? My God, that's not new information. It'd only be new if we saw a Clinton birthday card to Epstein. Comer announced a Republican-led House panel will seek an interview with Bill Clinton as part of the Epstein investigation. I'm surprised Republicans are doing this, mainly because if this ends up with Bill Clinton in prison, I'm shocked they would do anything that would so blatantly make Hillary Clinton that happy. House Speaker Mike Johnson, who looked like Clark Kent if Earth's yellow sun gave Superman a gluten allergy, used Comer's clearing of Trump to attack Democrats and their demands for the release of the Epstein files.
They're utterly lost as a party, and everybody can see it. So what are they doing? They see a shiny object, and they latch onto it. Democrats did not say one word about the Epstein files for the entire Biden presidency. And suddenly now, they somehow convince themselves that the Epstein files will be damaging to President Trump and Republicans in some way that they've imagined. And so they feign outrage.
I'm sure that's not true. Let's hear from Chuck Schumer, who looks like he constantly startles people that mistook him for a melting wax statue.
Given that you're all demanding the release of the Epstein files, why weren't Democrats calling for the release of these files when Biden was president and when you were in the majority?
I did in 2019.
And not nearly as vocal as you are now.
Please, that's not true.
Did he just say he called for the release of the files during Biden's presidency in 2019? Oh no, Biden's mental affliction has become airborne. Assuming being in government past the average U.S. life expectancy can be airborne. Though to be fair, Republicans who called for the release of the Epstein list during Biden's presidency, like Donald Trump Jr., are suddenly now silent on the topic. And while many claim Trump ran on releasing the files, here's what he actually said.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
Yeah, that was more of a strong maybe. No one's ever been elected on that, though it would be more honest. But this shows that Mike Johnson may have been right. Democrats and some Republicans are and were treating the Epstein files as a shiny object to get voters' attention, used to paint the other side as villains, while never intending to actually release them. Because maintaining power in government is a precarious business, and not nearly as stable and secure as creating content on YouTube. What do you think? Leave your comments below with that American flag emoji. And before you go, check out this video chosen by the algorithm. If you do, maybe the robots will think you're one of the good ones before they conquer us all. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thank you for watching America Uncovered.